Today we're here with Georgia Arnold, the Executive Director of MTV Staying Alive Foundation. She's going to talk a little bit about a really exciting new initiative that has just launched called Shuga Alone Together. And we're going to talk a bit about the importance of media influence and how to get the right information out to people. So Georgia, can you tell us a little bit about Shuga Alone Together? Where did the idea come from, and what's it been like producing it?
So MTV Shuga is our groundbreaking behavior change campaign. We've been running it since 2009. It's focused around a TV series, and we have radio, graphic novels, digital and social media, and peer education on the ground. And when the lockdown happened pretty much globally, we realized that we had to pivot really quickly to respond to COVID. And I don't know if you've read, but people are having very strange, intense dreams around COVID-19 and during this lockdown period. And I am one of these people. And one night I dreamt about the MTV Shuga cast from the 4 countries that we film in, talking to each other on Zoom. And when I woke up, I remembered the dream and I went, that's the solution. So my team thought I was a little bit crazy, but we decided that actually we are a behavior change organization, and this is a global health issue that we needed to be involved in. So we spoke to Vivian Lopez, the executive coordinator at Every Woman, Every Child, and within 5 minutes, she was on board, which was brilliant because we had our seed funding to really prove the concept. And then Unitaid came on board so that now we have been funded to create 60 scripted, bite-sized episodes of MTV Shuga. So it's called MTV Shuga Alone Together. We're filming in Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, and Cote d'Ivoire. And the idea is that it's fully scripted, but the actors are self-filming because they're all in lockdown themselves. And but our director is down the line on Zoom, so pretty much like this now. And so making sure that we can direct their shots, we do a recce with them, we walk around their home with them so we can really figure out where we should be filming with them, talk to them about clothes and hair and makeup. But of course, they have to do it all themselves because when no one's coming in to do it for them. So it has been a challenge. Just to give you an idea of what we've pulled off, a normal MTV Shuga TV series will take 10 months from green light to getting the first episode on air. The first episode went on air of MTV Shuga Alone Together 3 weeks after we agreed to greenlight it. So it has been a challenge. We had no idea, even when I spoke to Vivian, we had no idea if we could make it work. But I am really thrilled that, the episodes are really tightly scripted and the acting is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, everything about this is incredible. The timelines, the quality, the creative idea, the way that you have been able to represent what's going on, basically within the restrictions and of the lockdown around the world. It's really impressive. What has your feedback been so far? There's been 1 episode launch, is that right? Or
no, on tonight will be episode 8. So we're doing. Wow. Yeah, we're doing them daily. And then at the weekend, we do an omnibus edition. So we stitch the 5 episodes together. We've had great feedback. Also, I'm hearing from the cast that they're getting messages from their fan base, how much they're loving it as well. So what's interesting is we do a live chat every night when we premiere so every night we premiere the episode at 8 p.m. West Africa time and 9 p.m. South Africa. And so we get to sort of see the conversations that are going on immediately during the episode. And the messaging is very tight. So each episode will really only focus on one message. So episode 1 is around myths and fake news. Episode 5 is around one of our characters who's very neurotic about catching COVID. So there's some really good messaging there around hand washing and lockdown and social distancing. And so it's pretty easy, I think, for the audience to pick these up. And I think I hope they will make really good discussion points as we go forward. I'd love to get them into schools, get teachers to start getting access to them so they can really start discussing the topics around them.
So the main reason you're doing this is it's not necessarily entertainment, right? It's the idea that there's important information that needs to get out there. And can you talk a little bit about that, the principles of how to talk to people and really influence behavior and be on their level?
Well, it's interesting that you say the main reason isn't entertainment, because what we always say about MTV Shuga is if you don't make it entertaining, if someone doesn't want to watch it, then it doesn't matter how good the public health messaging is within it, it's sort of talking to an empty auditorium. So for us, entertainment is part of the reason why we do this. So we're producing really good content and everyone's really interested in watching. Everyone's got nothing much else to do at the moment than watch content. But it allows us to seed in these messages, and it allows us to seed in a way where we put young people at the very heart of what we do. So the scripts are very much centered around these young people in the 4 countries. And we hope that it feels really relevant to the audience. So in episode 5, when Layla, the character who's really quite neurotic, there's a point where she's talking. So all of this is done really through Zoom, and the characters are speaking to each other on Zoom. And there's a point where she turns around to her friend Bongi and she says, "But I'm just frightened." And I thought, it doesn't matter who you are. I think all of us are frightened. We're frightened for ourselves. We're frightened for our parents or our kids, the community. And so I think what we do is feel really relevant while being wrapped up in something that's really entertaining to watch as well.
I totally agree. I think it's really entertaining. And I also haven't seen, aside from comedy that's coming out around lockdown, I haven't seen a lot of more serious content like what you've been able to pull off, where you're saying people are saying they're frightened and, kind of more of the dramatic side of things. And people are seeing themselves reflected in it for sure, I imagine. And the way you've been able to pull together these scripts, I mean, incredible. I really don't know how.
Well, we have amazing writers. So we're working with a very small team of writers who we've worked with before. So we've got 2 Nigerian writers and 1 based in South Africa. And we're doing everything in blocks of 10. So that makes it a little bit easier to deal with in terms of how do we get everything done, because we outline from 1 to 10 and 11 to 20. And then what we're doing with 21 to 60 is we're going to do a big overarching story. So we know roughly where the stories are coming, what characters we need, what the main messages are. But the other thing that's really important, I think, is we're writing them just 10 days before they go online. So that means that we can be as up to date as possible. So, for example, the episodes that we're currently writing, we know that the South African and the Nigerian lockdown will have been relaxed a little bit. So now that's a challenge for us because we started doing this during total lockdown and no one could go out. But of course, now our characters should be able to go out. Our production doesn't actually allow us to do that. So we're still working within the confines of the box that we're all watching through our Zoom conferences the whole time. And we're sticking with that as the format.
Great. So how much have you factored in? I know the 360 campaign is really important to Shuga in the past. How much is that being factored in? You're saying there's some conversation with the characters that's happening online. Is there anything else that's being that's part of this campaign, and how can partners engage with Alone Together? Is there a concrete way?
Well, so two separate questions. So one, in response to the first one, obviously we're doing lots of work on social media. We've got a TikTok promotion going out tomorrow, where actually this character again, Layla, this episode, they're taking a clip of it and they're asking the audience to mimic what she's doing and then send it back to us. And we're giving, I think the first 10, we're giving them data. I think 5,000 naira to the first 10, right? So being able to engage with our audience, get them involved and excited, I think that's really important. In terms of partners, the more people are talking about this, the more people are linking to it, the better, as far as I'm concerned. This is really good content. It's also available if people want to put it up on their websites or send it out. We can arrange to do that as well. And then, if anyone has any ideas and places where we can use this that we haven't figured out yet, I am all ears. So, for example, I'm investigating now how we can work with the South African government to get this content into schools, whether it's done through online, because they're doing a lot of online teaching, or whether it's using, giving this to teachers to use as discussion points in the classroom, because COVID's not going away anytime fast. So we need to make sure that we're incorporating this into everything we're doing. But if anyone has any ideas, then I would love them to reach out to me.
And is there a social media pack we can share with our partners then?
Yes, I can. Well, it would be all of our, what would it be? It would be the hashtag is MTV Shuga Alone Together. And then we are at MTV Shuga on Twitter and Instagram.
And YouTube, right? That's where
Yeah, for YouTube, it's YouTube/MTV Shuga TV.
Okay, yeah, we can link to all of that. Is there anything else you want to talk about around this campaign? And we feel so lucky that you're able to sit down and talk with us. That especially in your busy schedule, the 60 episodes. When does that end? How far out are you looking here?
So we are doing it over the next 3 months. So theoretically, if our schedule works, we've got the 10th episode goes out on Friday. We're taking a break for a week just to catch our breath. And there's going to be content going out that week, but not new episodes. And then from then on, we should be doing 11 to 60 every night, Monday to Friday.
Great. And the drama will evolve.
The drama will evolve. There's going to be a few deaths.
Yeah.
I have to say, I think actually one of the things I haven't said is the messages we're focusing on. And I think that's really important because COVID-19 is not just about, in terms of global health messaging, it's not just about hand washing and social distancing and lockdown, but it's also understanding the difference between isolation and quarantine. It's also understanding for teenagers that even though they may be asymptomatic, that they can still spread it. It's talking about the mental health issues, the threat of domestic violence, and addressing all of the myths around it. So I think all of those messages are really crucial for us to see play out over the 60 episodes. And the other thing I think for us is we think we've found a format here that is really interesting. That is flexible and relevant, and it's not expensive compared to what we would normally produce. So we are also looking into seeing if we can take this into any other country as well, because it's needed around the globe.
Right. And it's like you said, it's not ending anytime soon. And these messages are really important to keep top of mind because they're going to be continuing to be important, especially not only the hand washing, but the mental health elements too. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Georgia.